Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet and our problem solving session of chemical reactions and equations. In our last session we solved few questions about physical change and chemical change, also about balancing and also about the type of reactions. Okay, now in this session we'll be solving few more questions related to chemical formula and again the type of reactions and balancing of equations. Students, this writing chemical formula and balancing of equation is a very important aspect of chemistry. You should be through with writing equations and balancing it and also writing the formula, right? Now here I have questions related to chemical formula, like write the chemical formula of potassium chloride. Okay students, now I have told you how to write the chemical formula, but still we'll just revise it. Okay, now students, what is the symbol for potassium? Just tell me, what is the symbol? It is K, right? Now what is the valency of potassium, children? I have told you that valency is the number of outermost electrons, okay, or the number of outermost electrons minus 8, right? So number of in potassium, how many electrons are present in the outermost orbit? It is a first group element, so the number of electrons present is 1. Its atomic number is 19. You can arrange them as 2, 8, 8 and 1. So what would be the valency of potassium, children? It would be 1. And that of chlorine. So what is the symbol of chlorine, students? It is Cl. What is its valency? It is again 1. So what we do is that I have got this potassium here with valency 1. I have got this chlorine here with again valency 1. So for making a formula for writing a formula, what is done is these valencies are cross multiplied. Okay, so what will be the chemical formula of potassium chloride, students? It would be K, C and L. Okay, so what is the answer of this question? The answer of this question is KCl, A. Right? Now we've got another question here, that is, what is the chemical formula of potassium permanganate? Right? Now let's take a separate page for discussing this chemical formula. There is what? Potassium permanganate. What was your question? Chemical formula of potassium permanganate. Okay, now we all know that the symbol of potassium is K, its valency is 1. Manganate is Mn, and there is oxygen also, students. So manganate, it has the valency, it is a d block element and it has the valency from +2 to 7. Sorry, in valency, students, you don't need to put the sign whether it is positive or negative. Valency is just the number, so it can have valency anything from 2 to 7. Okay, and oxygen has the valency 2. Right? Now your potassium permanganate has the formula KMnO4. Remember this formula, students, right? And potassium manganate, if I calculate the charge on magnesium, what it is coming out? Potassium, it is +1, plus of X I can take, because the charge on manganese I don't know. And oxygen, what is the charge on oxygen? Oxygen has taken up how many electrons? 2 electrons, right? So it is -2. So I can take it -2 multiplied by 4, right? And that is equal to 0, because it is a stable molecule. Now I have got +1 plus X minus 8 is equal to 0. KMnO4 is a stable molecule. Okay. Now X will be, or -7 plus X is equal to 0, or your X will be 7. So what is the charge on manganese, students? It is 7. So students, for finding out the formula of a compound in which D block element is there, right, you have to consider these charges, right? So at this level, if you are through with, you can do, otherwise there are very few molecules which are having D block elements, right? So every time you need to, what you need to do is, you need to put the charges and find out. Okay. Now there is, students, potassium manganate is also one thing. Potassium manganate, right? Potassium manganate formula is K2MnO4. Okay, students. Now what is the difference between the two? Let's find out. So here, what is the charge on potassium? That is, it can lose +1 electrons. Okay. What is charge on manganese? We don't know, because it can have anything. It can have anything between 2 to 7. Okay. So what I can take here is, I can just put it here X. That is, we don't know how many electrons it is losing or how many electrons it is gaining, right? Plus oxygen, again students, there is 2, that is -2. Oxygen is losing gaining how many electrons? So oxygen is gaining 2 electrons. Okay, students. So it would be -2 multiplied by 4, right? So what I'll get here is, I will get, and that is equal to what? 0. So let's take out what is the charge, sorry students. So let's take out what is the charge on magnesium in this atom. Okay. So what is the charge on magnesium? I'll put here 0. And what is the charge on magnesium? It is +1 plus of X minus 8 is equal to 0. Okay. Or X minus 7 is equal to, so what is happening in this case? This is K2, right? So this would be what? This would be +2. Okay. So here I'll put +2, not +1, because this is K2. Okay. So there are 2 atoms of potassium. For 1 atom of potassium, the charge was +1. So for 2 atoms of potassium, the charge would be +2. Okay. Now here also it is +2. Now this will become, what it will become, students? It will become X minus 6. Okay, students. So this is X minus 6 is equal to 0. So X is equal to 6. So what is the charge on manganese here? It is 6. Okay, students. So with the D block elements, or the elements which are having multiple valencies, or the elements which have the capability to gain more than 4 electrons, we find out the formulas like this. Okay, students. So it is +6. What does this mean? That this magnesium is losing +6 of electrons. Okay, so these are 2 things, students. This is KMnO4 and K2MnO4. If I want to write it in an ionic form, so what do you mean by ionic form? Ionic. that is your KMNO4 is losing its potassium and forming what? MnO4 minus. Why? Because it is losing this potassium ion. So this, students, is called as permanganate ion. Okay? Now likewise your K2MnO4. So this MnO4, 2 minus it would be. Why? Because it is losing 2 potassium ions. Okay? Now what will be the name of this compound? It would be manganate ion. Is my point clear, students? So this is the way how we write the ionic formula or the formula of the compound. Okay, students? Now let's move back to our question. Here is what is the chemical formula of potassium permanganate. So what I'll write here, our answer would be KMNO4. Okay, students? I hope you understood this. Now let's move to our next slide. That is, what is the question here? The question is, what is the product formed when copper metal is dipped in silver nitrate solution? Let's write the equation, students. So, copper metal, is it a solid or a liquid? I'll write it here, copper. It is a solid, right? Now, it is dipped in silver nitrate solution. Silver, the name for it is argentum. Okay. Now, what is the symbol for silver? It is Ag. Okay. Now, nitrate. Nitrate, I have told you the formula of nitrate is NO3 minus, right? So, nitrate, the formula is NO3 minus. Okay. So, what is the charge in silver? It's plus and nitrate is minus. So, what will be your formula becoming? AgNO3. Okay. Now, if copper sulfate, copper solid is dipped in AgNO3 solution, that is AgNO3 is a liquid. Got my point? Now, what is happening here, students? Your copper is more reactive than silver. So, what it will do, students? Copper will replace silver from its solution. Fine. So, what I'll get is CuNO3 whole twice and silver solid deposited. Now, from where did I get this copper nitrate? Formula of copper nitrate. Now, students, valency of copper is +2. Again, I have written the sign. Remember, you don't need to write the sign if you are talking of valency, right? So, I'll not write the sign there. It would be copper is 2, and you know that of nitrate ion charge on nitrate ion is -1, right? So, if I cross multiply these valencies, this is a charge, that's why I'm written minus. Now, what is the formula I'll get is CuNO3 whole twice. Okay, students. Now, in case of an atom of an element, what we try to find out is, we try to find out the valencies, that is the number of electrons present on the outermost orbit. Okay, but in case of ions, what you need to do is, you need to find out the charge. Okay, students. Now, just remember, don't multiply the signs again. Okay, now here I have this thing. Don't multiply the sign, don't multiply this minus with plus, and you'll come out with -2. Okay, so you don't need to multiply, cross multiply the sign. What you need to do is, you have to cross multiply the numbers. right? So if I am writing here copper 2, nitrate 1, so I'll cross multiply the numbers only. Okay? So don't cross multiply the signs. Okay, students? So I'll write it here, don't cross multiply the signs. Multiply the signs, S-I-G-N-S. Otherwise, students, you will come up with something minus or plus, and your formula you will not be able to write the formula. Any case, whatever molecule is formed is a neutral molecule. It doesn't have any charges. Fine? So now let's move to our next question. Right, I have got an equation here. What equation is this? CaCO3 is broken down into calcium oxide and oxygen. This reaction is an example of. So students, this is a very simple question. Okay, what are you finding here is that there is one intact molecule, that is CaCO3, that is calcium carbonate. It is being broken down into two small particles. So what type of reaction it would be? It would be a decomposition reaction. Getting my point? So it is a decomposition Now this, students, this decomposition would be by heat. Okay, so we can just write it here, that is, it is by heat. Right? So decomposition by heat is also called as what? Thermal decomposition. Okay, so decomposition by heat is also called as thermal decomposition. Right? Now let's move to next question. What is the formula of aluminium chloride? Tell me, what is the formula of aluminium chloride? I'll write it here. First question, aluminium chloride. Chloride. So students, symbol for aluminium is Al. Symbol for chloride is Cl. Valency of aluminium is 3. Valency of chlorine is 1. What I have to do is I have to cross multiply the things. Right? What I'll get here is AlCl3. So what is the formula of aluminium chloride? It is AlCl3. Okay, students. Now our next question is, what is the formula of zinc carbonate? So students, what is the symbol for zinc? Zn. Carbonate, what is the symbol for carbonate? Carbonate ion is CO3 2-. Okay, so this is your carbonate ion. Fine. So what is the valency of zinc, students? Valency of zinc is 2. Here, what is the charge on carbonate? 2. So again what you have to do is you have to cross multiply it. Right? So what I'll get is, what will be the formula of zinc carbonate? ZnCO3. Right, students? So I hope you can write the formulas now. Why we are practicing so many symbols and formula? Because this will be used always. Every time you are doing something in chemistry in higher level, you need to write the formulas, and you need to write the formulas correctly. That is very important. Okay? Now let's move to our next slide or next question. Write the balanced chemical equation for the word equation. Right, students? So what is the word equation here? It is nitrogen with hydrogen is forming ammonia. First of all, just you tell me what type of reaction it is. It is a combination or decombination or displacement or double displacement. It is a combination reaction. Why? Because nitrogen and hydrogen are combining to form ammonia. Okay? Now let's write its formula. So, what is nitrogen and what is the symbol for nitrogen? N. How it exists? It exists as a diatomic molecule. This is combining with hydrogen, that is H. And hydrogen also exists as a diatomic molecule. And what are they forming, students? They are forming ammonia, NH3. Okay? Now, is this equation balanced? NH3, again how did we write the formula? N, valency is nitrogen, valency is 3. Hydrogen, valency is 1. You cross multiply the things and what you'll get is NH3. Okay. Now let's balance this. This will be N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. Let's count the number of atoms. There are 2 nitrogen atoms on the LHS side, 2 on RHS. 6 hydrogen on LHS and 6 hydrogen on RHS. So, this is the answer of your question. So, got it, students? Now let's move to our next question. That is, what is the chemical formula of silver nitrate? Right? Silver nitrate, you can easily tell me, we have discussed it just now. It is, symbol for silver is Ag, for nitrate is NO3, valency of silver is 1, nitrate, the charge is 1, so we'll cross multiply it and what I'll get here is AgNO3. Okay, students? Now our next question is, what is the chemical formula of ferrous sulfate? Ferrous sulfate, right? Now there are two states of iron, children. One state is ferrous and other state is ferric. Ferric has charge +3. And ferrous has +2. Okay, always ik is the higher one, us is the lower one. Okay, now I have to write the formula of ferrous sulfate. So ferrous would be Fe2 plus and sulfate is SO4 2-, right? So what will be the formula become, students? This is ferrous ion combining with sulfate ion giving you ferrous sulfate, that is FeSO4, right? Now if I have to write the formula of ferric sulfate, sorry, I'll write it correctly. It is ferric sulfate. Ferric sulfate would be, students, it would be Fe2SO4 whole thrice. Right? I'll write it in a neater manner so that it is visible to you. So ferric, likewise children, there is cuprous, so wherever there is us, it is what? It is a lower oxidation state, right? I'll write it here only, ferric sulfate. Ferric sulfate is what? Fe2SO4 whole thrice. So this is the difference between ferric and ferrous. This is ferric sulfate, this is your ferrous sulfate. Okay students, so this was our question. Now let's move to our next question. Write the formula of dinitrogen tetroxide. Right students, so dinitrogen, as the name indicates, what will be the formula of dinitrogen tetroxide? Dinitrogen means nitrogen is 2. Tetroxide, tetra means 4. Oxide is O, so it would be N2O4. So there are certain chemical compounds, students, from where the name of which you can take out the formulas, right? Potassium, your next question is write the formula for potassium chlorate. Okay, potassium chlorate ion is ClO3. Okay, so I'll write it, chlorate ion is ClO3 minus. Okay students, perchlorate ion, perchlorate ion is ClO4 minus. Okay, chloride ion, or I can write a chloride ion, Cl minus. Okay, now if I write chloride ion, is ClO2 minus. So just see how many types of ion this chloride forms with oxygen: chlorate, perchlorate, chloride and chloride, right? So all of these have charges 1. Okay students, so this is the formula of potassium chlorate. Fine, potassium chlorate. If you want to write perchlorate, what you'll write is KClO4. Fine, potassium chloride, chloride will be KCl, chloride will be KClO2. Okay, so now let's move to the next question. Yeah, this question is, phosphorus solid reacts with oxygen gas and it forms phosphorus pentoxide solid. What will be its name? Phosphorus pentoxide, that is P2O5. Okay, so why I have taken P4 here? Why it's P4 here? This is because as nitrogen exists as a diatomic molecule, your phosphorus exists as tetraatomic. Okay, I'll just write the structure of phosphorus here, though it's a bit of higher level, but still you should know. Okay, now the structure of phosphorus is P4. It forms a regular tetrahedron, right? So there is P and there will be 4 atoms, 4 more phosphorus attached to it, right? So these phosphorus are attached in a tetrahedral manner. So your phosphorus is forming a regular tetrahedron, that is P, this would be P, P and P. Okay, if I'll join it like this, this is the structure, and between 2 phosphorus there is an angle of 60 degree. Okay students, so this is not a regular tetrahedron. Fine, so that is why this P4 is highly unstable. Fine, so these ways the 4 phosphorus atoms are attached. Okay, now this is reacting with what? This is reacting with, or this is burnt in oxygen. Okay, so what type of reaction it would be? This is here burnt. This is burnt in oxygen, right? So what type of reaction is this? It can be combustion or it is a combination reaction. So this is the example of P4 solid. It is white phosphorus, students. This white phosphorus is highly reactive. Okay, and it immediately combines with oxygen, giving phosphorus pentoxide. Fine. So this is your combination reaction. Now let's move to our next question. That is, what type of reaction is this? That is, this is what? Nickel nitrate reacts with sodium hydroxide, giving nickel hydroxide and sodium nitrate. Okay, students. So you can just by seeing this reaction, you can point out what type of reaction is this. Nitrate is replacing hydroxide of sodium and is forming what? Nickel hydroxide. Likewise, hydroxide is replacing nitrate of nickel nitrate and forming sodium nitrate. So what type of reaction this would be? This is a double displacement reaction. Okay? So this is both the ions are exchanging each other. That is, what all exchanges are taking place here, students? It is NO3 minus is exchanged for hydroxyl ion, OH minus. Right? So the ion exchange is taking place. Right? Now students, in what medium this reaction would be proceeding? Of course, there is ions formed. Right? What all ions are there? There is Ni2 plus, okay, there is NO3 minus, again there is Na plus and OH minus. So these all are ions, students, right? So when these are ions, this would be formed in solution state, right? So this is all taking place in aqueous solution. Right, students? So I hope all the problems are clear to you. We discussed, we also solved questions for writing chemical formula. I hope that is also clear to you. So students, you practice writing formulas as well as balancing equations and identifying what type of reaction is undergoing. Okay? In our next session, we will be discussing few more problems related to chemical reactions and equations.